Today, we're diving into a story where a woman's husband saved his first love and left her to die. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll see love in a whole new light. So, grab a cozy blanket, maybe a cup of tea, and let's get started. Because here at Heart Tales, we believe every heart has a story worth telling. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and let's begin this journey together. Have you ever looked someone in the eye and realized they'd rather watch you die than ruin the image of themselves they've created for the world? I have. And it wasn't a stranger. It was my husband, the man who swore to love and protect me. But on my birthday, all it took was one crash, one moment, for that illusion to shatter. Let me take you back to the beginning, back to when I still believed in fairy tales, in vows spoken beneath flowered arches, and in the kind of love that could weather anything, even the past. Bruno Lou. That name used to mean everything to me. Handsome, intelligent, a rising star surgeon. He walked into my life like the protagonist of a romance novel, and I was the shy literature major who believed I'd stumbled into something magical. We met at a university health camp. He stitched up a cut on my palm. I stitched myself into his world. When we married, everyone called us the perfect couple. Me, with my gentle ways and starry eyes. Him, the heroic doctor, saving lives and making hearts flutter. But what no one saw was the ghost living in our home. Her name was Eliza, his first love. The one who left him for another man. The one who came back. Right after we got married, she became a family friend. Frequent dinners, coincidental meetups, invitations that always seemed to include her. I didn't protest. I trusted him. I wish I hadn't. My birthday was simple. I didn't want anything extravagant, just dinner, maybe a dance. Time with the man I loved, but that morning, he rushed out for an emergency. I smiled and kissed his cheek, brushing off the disappointment. Around noon, I got a call from Eliza. She sounded upset, panicked, said she wanted to talk, that it was urgent. I hesitated, but then I agreed. I met her at a cafe where she asked to drive me somewhere private to talk. Something about needing to get it off her chest. I wish I had trusted my instincts, because 10 minutes into that drive, everything went black. When I opened my eyes, I was pinned in the wreckage. Blood dripped into my eyes. My legs were trapped under the crushed dashboard. Every breath was a struggle. Beside me, Eliza whimpered, clutching her stomach. I tried to call for help. My phone was gone. And then he arrived. Bruno, still in his lab coat, his face pale, eyes wide. I felt relief, pure, shaking relief. But then I saw who he was looking at. Not me, Eliza. He yanked her door open. "Are you okay? Where does it hurt?" She moaned. "My stomach. I think I'm bleeding." And then she said it. "I'm pregnant." He froze, then sprang into action. Lifted her gently, cradled her like she was made of glass. I tried to scream, "Bruno, I'm stuck. Please, my legs." He looked at me, and I'll never forget what he said. "Not in this life. Not even if I live 100 more. She's pregnant, Margaret. That's 2 lives. You have to understand the situation. Understand. I was your wife. It was my birthday. And I was pregnant too. You just didn't know." When I woke up, everything smelled like disinfectant and despair. The ceiling tiles were blinding white, the kind that made you feel more like a problem to be solved than a person to be healed. I was alive. My body felt like shattered glass held together by tape. My leg was in a brace. My ribs ached. There were stitches across my forehead, tubes in my arm. but none of that compared to the pain in my heart. Bruno wasn't there. Not when I opened my eyes. Not hours later. Not even the next day. Instead, it was the nurses who whispered, "She's the wife? Poor thing. Must have been hard seeing him run to the other one. Did you see the video? It's everywhere." Video. What video? A nurse finally slipped me a tablet when no one was looking, and there it was. A bystander had recorded everything. Bruno rushing to the wreckage, ripping Eliza from the passenger seat, yelling for help like a hero in a medical drama. The title, read, "Doctor risks his life to save pregnant woman in fiery crash." The comments made me sick. What a man. Her husband must be so proud. True love never dies. They look perfect together. I watched myself in the background, bleeding, trapped, screaming, ignored. They cut that part out, of course. The world saw him as a savior. I saw the truth. When Bruno finally walked into my hospital room 3 days later, he looked tired, but not guilty. He didn't hug me, didn't ask how I was. He simply said, "Eliza's stable. The baby's okay. That's what matters." I just stared at him. I thought maybe he'd ask if our baby was okay, but he didn't. He didn't even know. So I told him, "I was pregnant, Bruno." His face paled. He took a step back like I'd slapped him. Margaret, I didn't know." I nodded slowly. "I know, because you didn't ask." He opened his mouth to say something, anything, but just then, his phone rang. He glanced at the screen. It was Eliza. He answered it, right in front of me. "I'm coming." He whispered into the phone, "Don't worry." Then he left. I lay there for hours, numb, watching the sun move across the ceiling. That night, the doctor came in with a clipboard and solemn eyes. "We're sorry, Mrs. Liu. You've miscarried." I signed the discharge papers the next morning, packed my things in silence. As I was about to leave, a nurse handed me a manila envelope. Inside was the miscarriage notice. Clinical, cold, stamped, and final, like our marriage. Outside the hospital, I stepped into the cold rain. No coat, no umbrella, no one, just me. And the man who left me to die, still trending online. The days blurred together, texts from friends I thought I had. "Saw the video. What a hero your husband is. He's so brave. You're lucky. You won't be petty, right, Margaret? It was for the baby." I stopped replying. I stopped answering the phone. I stopped eating. Until one night, I stared at the mirror and didn't recognize myself. I looked like a ghost, hair unwashed, eyes hollow, skin grey with pain, but something inside me flickered to life. A whisper, small but firm, "You are not going to let this destroy you." I packed a bag, left the house, left him. No dramatic confrontation. No final words. He didn't even come looking for me, because he had Eliza, and I had freedom. People say healing is loud, like you'll rise with a war cry, chop off your hair, post a cryptic quote, set fire to the past, but that's not how it was for me. Healing was quiet, like pouring tea into a broken cup, and learning how to drink around the cracks. I rented a small studio apartment across town, tiny, one window, no air conditioning, but it was mine. I slept on the floor the first few nights. No bed, no frame, just silence. And me. And for the first time, that was enough. I started rebuilding my life in whispers. Step 1. I went back to work. I was a book editor before I married Bruno. Gave it up when he suggested I take time to enjoy life as a stay-at-home wife. Now I called my old boss. "Are you still hiring?" A pause. Then, "Can you start Monday?" I smiled through tears. The office smelled like ink and ambition. I wasn't the same girl who left that job years ago. But somehow, sitting behind that desk again, I found her, piece by piece. Morning coffees, tight deadlines, pages of poetry, in my inbox. Each one reminded me, I am not what happened to me. I'm what I choose next. Then came the first message, from him. Bruno, subject. Are you okay? I didn't open it. A week later, another one. Then a text. Then a call. Then another. I blocked them all. You see, the thing about men like Bruno, they don't panic when they break you. They panic when you don't break at all. I started going to therapy. My therapist, Lena, asked me to do something terrifying. Write a letter to Bruno, not to send, just to empty the poison. So I did, and I wrote, Dear Bruno, I don't hate you. I pity you. You threw away someone who would have given you everything, for someone who once gave you nothing. You didn't lose me in the accident. You lost me the moment you looked at me, bleeding, and chose to walk away. This letter isn't a goodbye, because there's nothing left to say. Margaret. I sealed it, burned it, watched the smoke curl up into the night. It didn't make me feel better, but it made me feel cleaner. Months passed. I began going out with co-workers, laughing again, wearing red lipstick again. Then one night, I met someone. His name was Julian. He worked in tech. Quiet, charming, observant. Nothing like Bruno. He noticed when I changed my hair. He remembered my coffee order. He asked questions and actually listened, and he never once made me feel like I had to compete with a ghost. One evening, on a rooftop overlooking the city, he said, You're the most unbreakable person I've ever met. I didn't cry, but my heart did something I thought it had forgotten how to do. It smiled. Funny, isn't it? How when you finally move on, that's when they come crawling back. One rainy evening, there he was. Bruno, soaked, disheveled, pathetic. He looked like a man who had lost everything, and he had. Margaret. I made a mistake. I tilted my head. A mistake? He stepped forward. Eliza left. Said she wasn't ready. The baby wasn't mine. She miscarried months ago. I was blind. I stayed silent. I miss you. I see you now. I want to fix this. It was poetic in a way. The man who once left me to die, now begging for life to go back the way it was. I gave him a sad smile. Bruno, I used to cry for your attention. Now, I don't even blink when you speak. He reached out. I stepped back. You chose her. Over me. Over your child. Now choose to live with it. Then I closed the door for the last time. People ask me now, how did I move on? The truth is, I didn't just move on. I moved up. 6 months after I walked away from Bruno, I was invited to speak at a national publishing conference. Me, the same woman who used to shrink herself into silence at dinner parties. Now I stood in front of hundreds, confident, composed, glowing. After the talk, a woman came up to me. Your words, they healed something in me, she said. And in that moment, I realized something. The same pain that nearly killed me was now giving life to someone else. An article about the conference made it to LinkedIn's front page. From betrayal to breakthrough, Margaret Liu's unstoppable rise. It went viral, and yes, Bruno saw it. I'm so proud of you. I never deserved you. Watching you now feels like punishment, but I can't look away. He was right. It was punishment. Not because I tried to hurt him, but because I finally loved myself more than I ever loved him. Julian and I grew closer. He wasn't perfect, but he was honest. No shadows, no ghosts, No pity. He held space for my pain. He made room for my growth. He didn't try to fix me. He respected me. And one quiet evening on my balcony, he looked at me like the stars were jealous. He whispered, "I don't want to save you. I just want to stand beside you while you save yourself." And that was love. Then just when the past felt like a chapter I had finally closed, Eliza called. Eliza nervously said, "Margaret, I owe you an apology. Several, actually. I was scared. I used him. I knew he still had feelings for me, and I used that, knowing you were his wife. And when he left you there that night, I was terrified, but not just of dying. I was terrified that I would always be the woman he saved, and never the woman he truly loved. I see now. It was always you. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I simply said, I accept your apology, Eliza, but I don't need it to move forward. Because closure isn't something someone gives you. It's something you give yourself, and I already had. In the months that followed, I was promoted to senior editor. I published a memoir, anonymously at first, about surviving betrayal. It became a bestseller. Women around the world reached out. I finally moved into a new home, with windows, light, a garden, and Julian, he asked me to move in with him. I said no, because I had just learned to live on my own terms, and he smiled and said, "That's exactly why I love you." Bruno, on the other hand, his hospital reviewed the footage, not the heroic clipped version, the full one. Someone leaked the truth about how he left me, about the triage violation, about the lies. Dr. Bruno Liu, formerly celebrated for his dramatic roadside rescue, has been placed on administrative leave following an ethics review. He lost his license temporarily, and then he disappeared from headlines, just like he disappeared from my life. Funny how karma doesn't rush, but it never forgets. 1 year later, I stood at the edge of a lake, the same place Bruno once proposed to me. This time I came alone. I threw my wedding ring into the water, and I didn't wish for revenge. I wished for rebirth. Not every story has a perfect ending, but mine had a powerful one, because I didn't just survive the crash. I survived the choice, and in the end, I chose me. Exactly 1 year to the day, I'm seated at a cozy cafe, across from a microphone, notepad in hand. Today, I'm telling my story. For real, not hiding behind pen names or ghost-written quotes. Today, I'm Margaret Liu, and this is my voice. Welcome back to She Rises, the podcast where women reclaim their voices. Today's guest is someone you may know without knowing. She's an editor, a best-selling anonymous memoirist, and today, she's ready to step out from the shadows. Margaret, thank you for being here. Thank you for having me. I've been silent for a long time, but I've learned silence protects the wrong people. And just like that, I told the world. I told them everything. The birthday, the crash, the cold words. She's pregnant. There are 2 lives at stake. The betrayal, the humiliation, the miscarriage, the rebirth. And then I said something I never thought I would say. If I had to go through it all again, I would, because it led me here, to my own voice, my own life, my own love, on my terms. Weeks passed, the podcast went viral. Support poured in from everywhere. Women, men, survivors, fighters, and surprisingly, from one man I hadn't heard from in over a year. Bruno. No text this time, a letter. Margaret, I listened to every Word, I cried. You don't owe me forgiveness. I don't even deserve this ink. But I wanted you to know I'm no longer a doctor. I work at a clinic now, in a rural town. I think about you every day, not in hope, but in guilt. I didn't just fail you. I failed who I could have been beside you. If you ever need help, I'll be there, silently, always. Bruno. I didn't write back, but I didn't shred it either. Because forgiveness isn't just for others. Sometimes, it's the final piece we give ourselves. Now, my life looks different. It doesn't glitter like a movie, but it shines in quiet ways. My mornings start with fresh flowers. I read novels on my balcony. Julian makes pancakes that burn on one side, but always in the shape of hearts. We don't talk about Bruno. We talk about books, and goals, and peace. One night, surrounded by friends, I raised a toast to the woman I used to be. Thank you for surviving, and to the woman I've become, I promise to never abandon you again. And so, from the wreckage of a marriage, from the broken ribs and broken trust, I emerged, not whole, but healed, not untouched, but untouchable. You see, he saved her first, but I saved myself forever. Thanks for watching. Hoped you liked it. Before leaving, please hit the subscribe button, comment your thought and share with your nearest and dearest one. See you in the next one. Until to the next one, spread love.